From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over that $80,000 in new stimulus checks went live. Here's a new map of the great checks being offered across the board. And then we look at six stimulus heating up because of a new allegiance between the United States, Paris, and also Germany. What's happening? All the latest details on that. But first up, CR for stimulus. The House is set to pass the continuing resolution as early as late today and send it over to the Senate. What will be in it? All the latest details as well. Oil prices dropping dramatically because OPEC plus countries coming to the rescue or not. The latest details of today's recording. Then we'll be looking at the great details of Build Back Better Act going to get passed, and those incredible checks in there include the big money for your MSC. We'll be looking at the Build Back Better Act and then the energy crisis. Teeing up a sixth stimulus package, but with prices of gasoline dropping overnight, what happened? Could this impact your sixth stimulus? Then SS300. We're just hours away for the inflationary numbers for the month of January. What will this mean for you? I have the new indicators today on Afternoons LA. Then we'll be going to the big money for third stimulus still available. And viewers got $10,000 overnight. Did you get it as well? Then we'll be turning back to the situation unfolding overseas and why there's a new element of surprise for sixth stimulus with a global alliance to get relief to millions of Americans and international citizens to deal with the energy crisis with Russian oil coming out of the pipeline. All the latest details and what's happening in the humanitarian crisis as well. A evacuation corridor maintained well today, but also very bad news about potential fatalities. I'll go over the latest details on that as well. It's a big afternoon's broadcast of a major series of developing elements with the big $80,000 checks going across live in many parts of the country. I'll show you if it's live in your state as well. Then we'll be looking at what Joe Biden has on plan with your big CR this week. All those incredible details and more as we go into Big Afternoons LA from the shores of Santa Monica, California. It's breaking news, and it's Afternoons. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful day. And it's a little here in California, where the $80,000 checks went live. Did you get it? I'm going to show you the new map and where that money is going live. This is those $80,000 in new checks, and it's before sixth stimulus heating up this week. Sixth stimulus, the latest offering, and it's happening as well. We'll be looking back to CR for stimulus, going to a vote later today, and the energy shortage and how it impacts that. Then we'll be looking at Build Back Better and also that SS300. Then the latest details unfolding overseas that impacts your economics at home. It's a major recording with a lot of developing details, brand new in the last few minutes, in view of those inflationary numbers being released tomorrow morning. But tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I'll have the prime time broadcast of Evenings LA that will go over all the incredible details in these checks. In prime time, don't miss me. I'll be at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time at 8 o'clock tonight. Let's go into the Build Back Better Act. That fourth stimulus recon that will get law in the next few days, and it's $15,000 to $60,000 of checks, 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Let's look at them. Hazard pay got in there for my essential workers. $4,000 elder care, $4,000 to care for young children. They got the $3,600 for the young children and the home repairs. $550 checks as well to big for those college students, and the $12,500 to weatherize your home and to weatherize your electric vehicle. In that first add-on of checks, we get the incredible money for the purchase of your first home from Southern California's Maxine Waters. just a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. It's huge. Now, in that second cluster of checks, home repairs and paid leave. In tonight's evening's LA broadcast at 5 o'clock prime time, you're going to see all these incredible checks and details. So tune in then. Again, it's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's America's most watched financial show in prime time. In the second add-on of checks, we have more incredible deliciousness, and that comes from Bob Casey. Free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. It's incredible. And it is a campaign promise, and Joe Biden got it in there, $250 billion. In that second cluster of checks, we also have free internet and farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and seniors. Seniors getting 2 on the House, 3 on the Senate side. On the House side, they got the Medicaid gap fix and the hearing check. But on the Senate side, dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for course when we're talking about adding checks to this incredible recon. The other checks that they would add in there, of course, are MSC. These are a body of legislation of checks that would be added to the fourth stimulus recon that already has $15,000 to $60,000 checks in there. Who would get it? Let's go over the details starting right now. Single individuals, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it, double it. And family of 4, you get it as well, quadruple it. The senators represent a viewership of this channel that the eligibility is the same as a third stimulus check. So it's not income, it's not taxable. It goes out to adult dependents as well, and it goes out on a national basis. More about it tonight in that evening's 1-hour broadcast. It's Evenings LA, America's most watched financial show in prime time tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter is how much they pay out. And this is one of many checks that would add to this incredible recon. But what is also heating up today as well? Heating up today, of course, is that CR and that $80,000 of checks. In just a second, we're going to go over the new map that went live that shows where those $80,000 checks are paying out. Did you get one yet? Are you on that map? I bet you are. I'm going to go over how to go to those $80,000 of checks in just a second. And then we'll be turning to the situation with gasoline. I had told you for over a week that United Arab Emirates needs to ramp up and produce more gasoline, part of that OPEC alliance, OPEC Plus. Well, breaking news is that they may be ramping up production. You think they're tuning in? I'll have more about that in just a second. And that sixth stimulus, not pie in the sky, it's a reality. It's part of the allegiance between the United States, Germany, and France, and it will be happening. What is it? How much are you going to get paid? It's just coming up in a second. But first, let's turn to that CR for stimulus. Breaking developing details on that continuing resolution. The continuing resolution, which is the fund of the federal government, has an inherent deadline of early March. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funding. Negotiations done, House and Senate, Republicans and Democrats, weeks of negotiations. So what's the breaking news at the time of today's recording, March 9th, 2022, recorded just about an hour before you see this broadcast. The latest details is that the House has passed, yet again, a modification to the CR to get it done this week. Wow. The House will vote on Wednesday for legislation to fund the federal government, and it will send us through September on full funding. So the House looks to do it, not do a stopgap, actually get it done. It'll include $14 billion of aid to Ukraine, and it will also provide sanctions against Russia. Now, Congress has to Friday to pass it, but the Senate has been given extra time because guess what? The House today also passed a second bill that'll provide the Senate the opportunity to work on this through next Tuesday. It is actually still holding it at $1.5 trillion, and that the bipartisan agreement is really in jeopardy if the president holds and tries to take a little bit of that money for COVID. The president initially asked some of this CR money for COVID. Republicans and senators and House and Democrats said, no, we're not going to give it to you. Then he came back and asked again. So what the latest detail today? A new statement released by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer says the bipartisan agreement will help us address many of the challenges from COVID-19 to Ukraine. Translation, they don't have a deal. They don't have a deal to give any money for COVID. So I don't think they're going to get that money for COVID in there. I think it's going to be removed and put somewhere else. And remember, with $1.5 trillion of discretionary funding, it's enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. So advocate to those legislators and say, spend some of the money on us. $2,000, it's available, get it spent on us, and get it out the door. Now, out the door is $80,000 of new stimulus checks. And this is on top of the third stimulus. You're looking at a map right now. This is breaking news, folks. This is the new rent program detailed on this channel that went live this Monday. It's $80,000 of new stimulus checks for homeowners. And that incredible program, I may have just said rent, I mean homeowners, that incredible sums of money is going live in the states, has gone live in the states in which the color is teal. Yeah. I don't know why teal always has to be first. So if you see California on the left, it's teal or muddled green. Yeah. So the program has gone live. How to get these incredible checks? It's coming up in the second half of this video. Then we have big success stories as viewers, no less than 3 of them, got $10,000 of rent this week. Wow. I'll have the latest details on that. And then why does Odessa, the Black Sea, Vladimir Putin, and gas prices have something to do with you and another stimulus package? All the latest details on the 6th stimulus package. It was debuted last night on Evenings LALATE, that 1-hour special broadcast. I'll have more tonight in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. But the allegiance at issue is really heating up, and this is going to happen. It doesn't go after 4th stimulus. It happens at the same time as 4th stimulus. And it's huge, and it's a lot of money. Then we'll be looking at what's happening with the energy crisis, dramatic change of events. You may have heard it today. The price of international Brent crude falling. The fastest fall we've seen in nearly 20 years overnight. But is it short-sighted? I'll have my analysis of what's happening and what it means for you at home. It's a big afternoon's recording, and we're just getting started. I'll see you back in 60 seconds with that big $80,000 of checks and more of a preview of tonight's Evenings LALATE. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. See you back in 60 seconds.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
Started. It's a big second half of LALATE, and boy, are we excited as a new program of $80,000 of stimulus checks went live. Do you see yourself on the map? Then we'll be looking at what's happened with 6 stimulus. Really exciting details. And then the big money from your Build Back Better Act going to the finish line. We have the latest details on all these incredible checks and how those OPEC plus countries are coming around after I said, what are you doing here? We need some of the little assistance to bring the price of gasoline down. It's huge, and it's all happening on this afternoon's broadcast on the shores of Santa Monica, California, starting right now. The great news is that a major $80,000 new stimulus program is live. And you're looking at a real map live right at the time of this recording, made March 9th, 2022. Let's go over the details of this incredible program and differentiate it from the rent assistance featured on this channel. Over the last 2 years, I've gotten people a lot of money for rent, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, and more. That's still live. And that is what I call on this channel's third stimulus, because it went live in January 2021 and it's still paying out. So if you're watching this video and you're a renter and you need rent assistance, you can get it. Also, if you're a homeowner, you need mortgage and utility assistance, you can get it as well. It's third stimulus. And the exciting details about third stimulus money is that it's still paying out. In the last 24 hours, these are the new success stories. Melly Pin, who's a brand new member of this channel, got $9,000 yesterday. Thank you, LA, for your experience and sharing the knowledge. From watching your show and listening to your advice, I was awarded over $9,000 for rental assistance yesterday. Wow. Carol Moore, who has been a member for 2 months, just got $4,000 from her city for housing and $1,100 for electric for my son's group home. And then David Allen yesterday, who's been a member for, I think it's 2 months, just got $10,000 in rent assistance from watching this channel. So third stimulus pays out for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And it's still live. I'll go over that more in just a second. And as a Purple Hawk, you're going to pounce and get that sums of money. But if you also want homeowners grant in addition to that, then that has gone live with those $80,000 of checks. You're looking at a brand new map, and I told you I'd be on top of the subject matter because no one is more on top of it than I am. Last Friday, the United States announced this incredible program that will provide $15,000 to $80,000 stimulus checks to homeowners nationwide who are eligible. The eligibility is incredible, and it's much like a third stimulus check. Single individuals, $75,000 less would get it. Married couple, $150,000 less would get it. The amount of money is for homeowners. Own a home? You could qualify. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. If you're a homeowner and you're within the income qualification, you would likely qualify, and most states don't require to be behind on the money. The breaking details is that it went live on Monday. First was announced on Friday, and I was the very first place on the globe to cover it for you. But today, I'm on top of the subject as well. As soon as it was announced last Friday, you know what I said? I said it's going to be exactly like unemployment assistance on day one of this channel. When I first launched this channel on April 25th, 2020, I pressed record and I said there's a new program going live. It's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. But it's not live in some states. Some states will be faster than others because some states have newer computer systems than others. When this program was announced last Friday, I said it's going to go live this coming Monday, but I expect some states to go live before others. And I also promised you I'd stay with the subject matter and update you as we see where it's going live. Here is a brand new map you're seeing for the first time on Afternoons right now. This is a map indicated where the program has gone live. The teal or muddled green, as indicated by the state of California and Arizona and Texas, shows it has gone live. Yes. So if you're in California, Florida, Texas, and Arizona, it's live. Now, surprisingly, here's an update. On day one of the announcement of the program, we were told it was not available in New York. Notice New York has it live, so there you go. So there you see, Southwest all the way to the Southeast, and even New England has it live. Much of the Midwest also has it live already, like Minnesota, like Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia has it live. Also, Nebraska has it live. This is an incredible program, and what is it? And how do you get it? And what's the money? Let's go over all these incredible details, starting right now. The sum of money is $15,000 to $80,000 per household. It's a grant. It's a homeowner's grant announced by the President of the United States last week. It's run by Department of Treasury, but the applications are done on a state-by-state basis. You qualify by applying at your states when they're live, and that map shows you where it's live right now. The funds are for items that many of you as channels have asked for funds for a long time, and we didn't have it coverage, like property insurance. Wow. Property tax, homeowners insurance, association fees, and utilities are among the items that are covered. It's huge, and it's a lot of assistance. Again, $15,000 to $80,000. It's a grant. It's not a loan. One person had a great question overnight. Do I have to do a credit check for it? No, it's not a loan. It's a grant, meaning you get the money and you don't have to pay it back. To repeat, it may look like third stimulus, and it may overlap with third stimulus, but it doesn't. So you can have gotten third stimulus before from this channel and also get this money as well. You need to pick up their phone and get this money, folks. And how do you get the money? Let me tell you how you get the money. You become a member. Become a member and get that incredible membership newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system. And if you're a member on the LALATE alert system, you'll get an alert when the newsletter goes live. At the very top of the newsletter is the grant program. It details the money, the items it covers, and features a link that sends you right into the application process nationwide. That's the benefit of being a member. Pouncing as a Purple Hawk and getting the money before anyone else, because it's first come, first serve. Now, the membership newsletter also features the big money for third stimulus. And congratulations to Melly, to Carol Moore, and David Allen, who got $9,000, $4,000, and $10,000 the last 24 hours. I think we're doing well. I think we're doing really good. 3 people. And that is, almost $20,000 among 3 people in 24 hours. How do you get that money? Coming up in just a second. Now, out of nowhere, no one would have thought that Vladimir Putin would have given us a 6th stimulus package. But this is not pie in the sky. It's happening. What's going on? You heard it last night on Evening's LALATE. And here is what's unfolding across the board. Because of Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, world alliances are now saying we're getting off of Russian oil. And to get off of Russian oil, there's going to be an economic impact domestically and internationally. And so what's happening right now is that Germany has a president who is aligned with Biden. And so does France, whose president is Macron. Macron goes up for re-election in just April. If Macron is re-elected, then you have France, Germany, and the United States as part of a trifecta of really basically a democratic alliance. Democratic versus Republican, I would say. And that means that many insiders believe that those 3 countries are about to debt spend to finance the ability to give relief to its citizens to deal with an energy crisis. And this is not out of the ordinary because guess what? Right after last night's Evening's LALATE broadcast, it happened in the United States. Let's go over what's going on. Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine has now caused world leaders to say we're getting off of Russian oil. Not a big economic impact in the United States initially, but for our partner allies it does. And because they're dependent upon Russian oil, our price is going up. Very simple, but I'll get to that later in this recording. What's at issue is that if gasoline prices go up, how do we afford it? Well, Germany and France have said in the last 24 hours, we have to do it. And so to do it, we have to give our citizens a way to economically afford more gasoline, higher prices. The way we're going to do as a country in Germany, France is going to raise debt and then spend money on our citizens. And the United States is now bankrolling the same idea here as well. And what's really fascinating, and this is why you watch this channel, is that I told you this was happening on an international level between France, Germany, and the United States last night in LA. What happened after that broadcast? Right after that broadcast, governors, Democrat, Republican, left, right, West Coast, East Coast, all came out and said, you know what? We have an energy crisis surrounding us right now. We're going to do our state stimulus packages right now for 2022 to give our citizens a way to deal with the energy shortage. Gavin Newsom in California as well was among them. These are very early on, and this is in addition to the 6th stimulus package. So I want to tell you, 6th stimulus is not pie in the sky. It's actually happening. Let me repeat again, because it's very important. Been with this channel for a while. You know that a lot of these packages overlap. And when you hear 6th stimulus, don't think, well, where's 4th? Why are we on 6th? They overlap at the same time. So you offer stimulus overlapping with Build Back Better, overlapping with 6th stimulus. Now let's go to the exciting details of what's happening in the next 24 hours. On Thursday morning, on Mornings LALATE live on air, you better tune in because why? One of the most important numbers of this channel for the month of March is about to be released, and it is the Consumer Price Index number. It will be released just before sunrise Thursday morning, March 10th, and I want you to tune in because why? This has to do with your SS300. We're waiting to see where inflation comes in for the month of January 2022, and we will learn that number when the CPI, Consumer Price Index number, is released Thursday morning and broadcast live on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Why is this big? If my analysis is correct, the number will come in at 8%. And that will mean that if Joe Biden swaps out COLA for inflation today, just like he could have done it last month, you could still get that $200 a month. This is huge, and it's going to be a major story. Breaking news. You don't want to miss that major announcement. Let's go over the details. If the CPI number comes in on Thursday at sunrise on Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, at about 8%, 7.5%, that means $200 for SS300 right now if Joe Biden makes the swap. What's the possibility otherwise? I don't see any other version of this happening. I don't see inflation coming in at 6% for January. It could potentially come in at 8.5%, which would be more benefits, because let's go over the analysis right now. Your benefits are tied to COLA. And each year, COLA doesn't move. If you swap out COLA for inflation, your benefits will go up about $200 a month right now if the inflation number is 8% right this moment. Where is it? We don't know where it is in March. We know where it was in December, and I predicted correctly. All last year, I said the December number was going to be 8%. It came in 7.5. The January number, we don't know where it's going to be, and we're going to see it announced live on air on Mornings LA tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I hope you tune in. That will show us if it's 8%, 7.5, 8.2. If it is, that means swapping COLA for inflation will give you $200 right now. Then, based upon where inflation is likely to traject later this year to down to about maybe 4%, that means you'll get another $100 more per month thereafter. Now, let me make something very clear to you. I haven't said this before, but I think it's sort of obvious. If the situation of gasoline and Vladimir Putin gets very unraveled and actually worse between now and December, and inflation doesn't come down, you'll get more than another $100 later this year. If inflation comes in at 5% or 6% in December, which I don't think it will, then that means you will get more than an additional $100 later this year. There you go. This Thursday number is huge because Jay Powell will be watching as well. Here's Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, and he'll be looking at that number to determine, hey, what do I got to do? Jay Powell's in a real bind. His job is to reduce inflation. And he was looking to reduce inflation just between you and I with COVID, unemployment, and the economy as of just December. Now he has Vladimir Putin. He has an energy shortage. He has Western alliances. He has OPEC at issue, just changing permutations by the moment. Very, very fluid. What's the latest details on Jay Powell right at the time of this recording? The latest details is that some analysts think that it's very, very problematic for Jay Powell. What's my analysis? I think Jay Powell for the month of March will give you a quarter basis point at the first FOMC meeting. What is this? Jay Powell is trying to bring down inflation, and the way he brings down inflation is raising interest rates a certain percentage point at each of the FOMC meetings, one per month. There are 5 meetings come up in the next 5 months. I think he's going to do a quarter basis point this month, the month after, and I think he's going to stay with it. If the situation in Ukraine and Russia just continues as a war through much of the summer, UK Prime Minister, in a new comment I featured yesterday on the channel, said the Ukraine-Russia situation is not going away in a few days. So it's likely to go on for about a few months. If that's the case, I think that Jay Powell is going to stay at a quarter basis point. Now, what does Jay Powell say? What does ALS say? Jay Powell said last week, I'm giving you a quarter basis point this month, which is just a few days from now. We change. He could change if the inflation number is insanely high tomorrow on Mornings LA. Let's say it comes in at 9%. I think Jay Powell may get skittish and say maybe half basis point. I don't think that's just not going to happen. No one would ever predict the inflation rate that wrong. Not even I would. So I think it's still going to come in somewhere in the 7 to 8. And Jay's going to do what's first name on this channel? Jay's going to do a quarter basis point on at the first FOMC meeting. Thereafter, it's very problematic. And what are analysts saying today? One analyst says the strength of the U.S. market and consumer aggressive and aggregate corporate sector should act to weigh in on the recession near term. Overall volatility is likely to persist. But there's a possibility of many different outcomes in Ukraine, and the fundamentals of the U.S. economy look decent if the Fed can navigate raising rates without breaking demand. I don't agree with that comment. I don't think it's the U.S. breaking demand. I think it is world events like Vladimir Putin breaking demand. Last night on Evenings LA, I introduced a new character to this channel. You love characters, don't you? And this character, his name was Big Shot. Big Shot took a big shot and he shot himself in the foot, figuratively, not literally. So what did Big Shot do? He created an economic crisis for one commodity overnight, and it's not funny, even though I'm laughing because he needs a new nickname, Big Miss Shot, because something like that could really cause J Powell to pivot and change your SS300 in a way you don't want to have happen. Let's go to that big money for third stimulus because this is very exciting. I mean, I'm just so excited that viewers have done so well. Remember, if you're a member of this channel, you get this in the membership newsletter. Also sign up for those LA alerts. The LA alerts are totally free, but you want to become a member because it's all featured in the membership newsletter. How do you get this big money for rent? Let's look at it right now. Reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, and your county housing authority. Let's stop for a second. We're going over third stimulus, and we're going over rent, but also mortgage assistance. So let's understand how this may look like it's overlapping with the money from that $80,000 new program. The new $80,000 program is a grant program for homeowners. So it's homeowners and it's nationwide. And we're calling it the Homeowners Grant Program on this channel, so we understand what I'm referring to. When we look at third stimulus, we're talking about a program that is live for not just homeowners, but also renters, and it may look duplicative, but it's not. You can get the sums of money as well. So you're also going to reach out to your county house authority. You're going to reach, and the keywords you can say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. So there you go. You also get the mortgage assistance from third stimulus as much as this new $80,000 stimulus check program. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must put multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. Now, in the case of the rounds going on right now, the viewers have been so great because, when we usually talk about rounds, we usually talk about 3 to 5 months of rent, and viewers are now getting upwards of 10 months of rent. They have really been doing so incredibly well on these sums of money. So continue to push and get these big sums of money across the land. And this is available despite what's happening internationally. This is funded by the federal government, money across the entire United States, everywhere. So get those big sums of money. It's third stimulus. And congratulations to the viewers who continue to get this on a daily basis. It's available for all of you. So you understand, there is a lot of different pots of checks available at the same time on this channel, very much at the moment of this broadcast airing for you. Then you want to open that membership newsletter. It's all featured in there. This is third stimulus. We're going over it right now. And lean on those nonprofits. Now, the nonprofits do things like home repairs. Yeah, notice there, so the nonprofits do home repairs, but the $8,000 stimulus check program also does home repairs. Yeah, so there's a lot of overlap. Don't worry, you can get the money from multiple places. And the average view of this channel from third stimulus has gotten about $45,000. They got it last spring, they got the summer, they got in the fall, and they're getting it right now. You saw those 3 people led on this video, $10,000 each. Then you can get those $80,000 and more checks right now with those new programs across the land. 6 stimulus, really fascinating. So let's go over the latest details on that 6 stimulus and what's going on with the oil situation today. Very, very confusing. And I'm going to feature tonight on Evenings LA. I'm going to give you a little bit more commentary than I usually do, and I'm going to go over it right now. The price of gasoline fell dramatically overnight. What? Why did it fall? Did Vladimir Putin pull out? No. Let's go over what's going on with the price of gasoline and why I think this is a little too volatile at the moment. World leaders were floated the idea starting about last Friday to remove Russian oil consumption or purchases for the respective countries. The United States led the effort with a Nancy Pelosi letter to House members saying, we're going to withdraw our buying of Russian oil in the United States. Good morally, domestically for us, doesn't impact us economically at all, because it only amounts to about 3% of the amount of gasoline we buy in the United States is from Russia. So morally great, but economically doesn't impact us. But why is gasoline going up at the pump? It's going up at the pump is because as soon as that announcement was started, Anthony Blinken, our Secretary of State, said, I'm meeting with world leaders to have them consider removing their purchases of Russian oil as well. That caused oil prices to surge upwards out of control. Why? Because countries like Germany import 30-40% of their gasoline from Russia. And as soon as Blinken made that remark, the response from Germany was, no, we can't do that. We don't have an alternative lined up. Now, when we talk about an alternative, where would the gasoline come from? The gasoline could come from another country. It's fully capable. But initially, Germany said, no, we're not going to do it. Then Germany pivoted. Germany understood there was a moral element at issue. Not so much that there's an economic issue, there's also a moral element. Germany understood they morally had to get off of Russian oil, even if they're economically dependent upon it. So what did Germany say? Germany said, you know what? You're right, United States. We have to get off Russian oil. I know we're 30 to 40% dependent on it. But what we're going to do is we're going to debt spend. We're going to increase our national debt in Germany and then give money to our citizens. And we're going to look to France to do the same. And if we think the United States will do the same as well. Now, Germany doesn't have to do this. The United States doesn't have to do this. This sixth stimulus idea doesn't have to be done if the alternative is approached. And over the last 2 weeks, I've featured the alternative. And what was the alternative? Number one, the OPEC plus countries. Number two, Venezuela. And number three, working as a team. None of those events happened. But tonight, new progress. Number one, OPEC plus. Now, if you were going to ask me to give my prediction on this, I would have probably said this was going to happen. OPEC plus had a meeting last week. And it was asked, you know what? A lot of your partner countries are considering getting off of Russian oil. Can you increase production so that they can have your oil? United Arab Emirates has been a partner ally of the United States, has an enormous amount of gasoline stored. And once they release that stored gasoline, because they don't have unlimited storage, then they can ramp up production. When asked the question, OPEC plus countries refused to answer the question last week. In fact, they refused to have any press in attendance. It was not a good look. At the same time, if you read the tea leaves, OPEC plus denounced Vladimir Putin. So they were denouncing Vladimir Putin, but they were also not increasing production. If you had asked me at the time, do I think that OPEC plus is going to ramp up production? I probably would have said yes, because it didn't look like they were saying no to the situation. It just looked like they hadn't made a decision on the situation. This is as Germany has to get off all the Russian oil. Well, the great news today is that OPEC Plus said that it may consider ramping up production. And that is why the price of gasoline dropped dramatically. Now, let me go over why you watch this channel. You watch this channel because I focus on details, whether it's how to fill out an EIDL loan application or how to get an $80,000 of stimulus checks. I look at the words very carefully. And gasoline prices dropped internationally 13% overnight to 108 a barrel. Folks, it was 130 last night on Amy's LA. It fell to 108. It got that cheap in just a few hours. Why? Because reports indicated that OPEC Plus may get some of its countries to increase production. Okay, may. We've heard this option of May has been on the table for a week. The report is that Iraq could increase output if OPEC asks. I featured this last week. United Arab Emirates could release gasoline if we asked. In fact, we did ask. They said no. So do I put much weight in this? I think it's going to happen, but I would not have traded oil down to 108 based upon the conjecture of it may happening when it could have maybe happened a week ago. That 130 price point was a factor in the absolute seize mentality in the oil market, and we're staring down a potential losing all Russian output. OPEC's not budging, and the Ukraine situation gets worse, said John Kildorn of GAN Capital. So I guess John, who I think I featured him 3 times this week on this channel, he's in the same mindset as I. We're all first name today. John and J-Pal. We're all first name. he says it could get very bad. Now, we've reversed all that seemingly to a degree at least. I don't want to get ahead of myself. That's his quote. I agree with him. I think this is Wall Street getting ahead of itself. It sort of hears something and pivots. Let me give you an example, other example of that, which is unfortunately a bad example, but it's actually happening. The word ceasefire is really one of the most confusing words floating around in the last 72 hours. Viewers who are very educated and informed of this channel sometimes hear the words ceasefire, and they think the war is over Ukraine and Russia. No, in the case of ceasefire, it often refers to a time in which citizens of a particular town can flee into neighboring Hungary or Poland. It doesn't mean the war is over. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to news reporting, some of the news channels are saying ceasefire. People, oh, the war's over, trade up stocks. Oh, gasoline, maybe we'll have a deal from Iraq. Trade down gasoline. Here's what you need to know, is that governors in Republican and Democratic states in the last 24 hours say, we can't have this gasoline situation as it is. So we're all coming up on a statewide basis, a way to provide relief to our citizens. And this will be state stimulus, which unfortunately I don't cover state stimulus on the channel, but every state is looking at different opportunity. One of them is to not have any taxes for the gasoline you buy at the pump. In the California's case, if they did that, that would drop it from like $5 a gallon to almost $1 a gallon. I mean, most of what you pay for gasoline at the pump is taxed base. So there's a lot of opportunities floating around there, and this is in addition to that big six stimulus. Tonight, we have a lot going on Evenings LA, as you can see. We'll be looking more at this incredible map and that incredible sums of money going live. $80,000 a check. So we'll be looking at the alliance of Germany, France, and the United States for that six stimulus package. We'll be looking at the Build Back Better Act and that CR for stimulus, just a few days away, passing potentially by tonight's Evenings LA broadcast. Then we'll be looking at the incredible money at issue with that continuing resolution and that SS300, so dependent upon that CPI number tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. A lot of big money tonight on that evening's broadcast. You don't want to miss it. Everyone's talking about it. It has really been a blockbuster of hit. It's the most watched show in prime time for financial news. It's Evenings LALATE every night, Monday through Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'll be in the live chat. I look forward to seeing you tonight. It's tonight, and boy, it will be a broadcast. See you informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.